So good evening. It's awesome. I'm so privileged and humble to be standing in a gathering like this. This is my first time in a room which is surrounded by chartered accountants. Okay, now I'm a little nervous. I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I am nervous. But on a serious note, I'm so excited. I want to thank Mr. Xavier. I want to thank Ankit. Incidentally, when I got onto my entrepreneurial journey in the year 2017, I didn't know anything in terms of setting up a company or whatever. I was referred to Ankit, and I must tell you, over the last 2.5 years, I thank God almost every day for having Ankit to support me in what we have started. So may I request you to put your hands to Ankit, for Ankit, right? So Ankit is that humble person, knowledgeable person who reminds me of things to do, and thank God the business is going well. I'm here to talk to you about actually personal effectiveness. I know the introduction was about stress, but I want to tell you that there's a very direct connection between stress management and personal effectiveness. And if you look at the word effectiveness, I want you to draw your attention to effectiveness, right? Because often everybody is in the pursuit of success. You agree with me? Success, right? Let me ask you, what is success in one word for you? If you have to say success is dash, how would you fill the blank? Anybody? Success is? Milestone. Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else? Freedom. Okay. Freedom, yeah. Satisfaction. Accomplishing your targets and goals. Awesome. What about this side? What is success? Happy? Happy and alive. I must tell you, you are, a very different, gathering. Because when you ask this question, what is success anywhere else, people will associate success with net worth. You agree or not? Right? Who's got more money? There's nothing wrong with that. But people associate success with net worth. People associate success with influence. Who are the people do I know? I mean, I can contact this person, I can contact that person. If I pick up the phone and call, they will listen. Influence. Right? People associate success with educational qualification. People associate success with designation. You agree? Right? That if I make senior vice president, I'm successful. Then you make senior vice president. If I make executive vice president, I'm successful. Now, between senior and executive, it's just few alphabets. That's all. But people think that is success, right? If I make CEO, then I'm successful. Right? So, different connotations for success. And there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying this is wrong at all. I'm saying it's important for us to have such goals. But you see where effectiveness and success differentiates is that effectiveness is holistic, right? Is holistic. It's not focusing only on one area. Success tends to focus on a particular goal. And when you achieve that goal, we associate with success. I want to just give you an example. Now, let's assume I meet this person, okay? And this person says, my lungs are working well, my kidney works well, my brains work well, right? My muscles are fine, but I have, I've done these multiple, what surgeries are those? Those heart surgeries, right? Besides that, I am all fine, right? Therefore, I am healthy. My lungs work well, kidneys work well, brains work well, liver works well. Only one small problem is heart. Multiple open heart surgeries, but I am healthy. Now, is that statement factually true or false? False. Why do you say it's false? Heart is the main part, but his brain is working well. Brain also is the main part. Yeah, but kidneys are working well. You see, the point I'm trying to drive here is, very often, like you rightly said, I mean, you cannot be healthy if one part of the body is sick. That is the truth, right? You cannot be healthy if one part of the body is sick. And if you use that same reference, Just because one area of your life is working well, one area of your life is not working well, but every other area is working well, you're still not effective or efficient. You agree with me? Yeah? I'm doing superly well at work. But you know what? I got a problem with my family. But who cares about my family? I'm successful, right? I am doing great in my family, but my work is not going so well. You're still not effective. You agree with me? Yeah? So the point I want to drive and I want to leave you with is this thought. You got to be focusing on personal effectiveness. And personal effectiveness is holistic, is complete. It takes into area the multiple roles that we all play. You are sitting here as an individual, but do you realize that you're playing multiple roles? Yeah? You are a professional, right? You are a husband or a wife. You're a father or a mother, right? You're a son or a daughter. You're a friend, right? We are all playing multiple roles. Now, personal effectiveness means that you are effective in all the roles that you are actually playing, right? But then, and I want to draw your attention to a phrase that we normally talk about, work-life balance. Heard that? Work-life balance. And for centuries, people are trying to break the head in terms of what work-life balance. Yesterday, I was sitting with the CEO of Philips India in Bangalore. And so we were talking. And then she says, Rajiv, we've changed work-life balance. We call it work-life integration. You may change it. I was telling her, ma'am, you're changing it to work-life integration, perhaps. Yeah, working at home. They're saying there's no distinction between work and life. Life and work are all the same. I said, ma'am, for me, the most important word, I want to ask you, what's the most important word in work-life balance? That statement, those 3 words. What is the most important word according to you? Life. The most important word is balance. It's not work, it's not life. They are important. Please don't get me wrong. But our attention is it work? Is it life? Is it work? Is it life? The most important word is balance. Now, if I lose my balance, what will happen to me? I will fall down. Right? If you lose your balance between work and life, you lose your balance in the roles that you play, you will have a fall. You will have a fall. Right? But now you're listening to me and saying, hey, you're saying everything, it sounds so right, but how do I manage the different roles that I play? How do I manage the different roles that I play? Okay, I'm going to request you, right? If you've got a pen and a paper, I'm going to tell you 10 easy ways, 10 practical tips, right? Some of which many of you are practicing. 10 practical tips in terms of how can you be personally effective holistically, right? If you have a pen and a paper, great. If you don't have a pen and a paper, your phone. But please promise me you're not on YouTube or on Facebook and acting like you're taking notes. Is that okay? Because I've done that, right? So I want to talk to you about the power of 10. The power of 10. 10 simple practical things for you to be personally effective in every area. In the areas of personal development, which includes relationships, which includes learning, which includes physical fitness, which includes work, which includes finance, it includes every area, right? The number one thing, stands for, the first thing I want to tell you is, to be personally effective, one thing you need to do every week, there's one thing you need to do. And that one thing is you must learn one new thing every week. Learn one new thing every week. And that one new thing can be anything. It can be with your subject, right? It could be about regulation. It could be about regulations in different countries. Now, forget your subject. It could be a new skill you're learning. It could be a new musical instrument you're learning. It could be a new dish that you're planning to cook, right? It could be. Now, why is that learning very important? That learning is very important because our mind expands. Right? Our brain expands. When you learn, your brain expands. You're creating new neural pathways in your brain. This is scientific. Okay? How many of you have gone to the gym, visited the gym and come back? No, actually gone to the gym. Right? or pay. I'm not talking about people who gone and paid your respects to the gym, right? But actually gone to the gym, right? When you go to the gym, you see these guys and girls lifting weights. Now, when they're lifting weights, do they have a smile on their face and they're lifting like this? It's so cool, yeah? No. What is the look on their face when they're lifting? There's pain. It's tough, right? My question, if it is so tough, then why are you lifting the weights? Right? You see, it's tough. But when they lift their weights, when they lift the weight up, you know what? They are building muscle. Right? Muscle building means that you're actually stressing the muscle. You're breaking the muscle. You know that when you're lifting weights, you're actually breaking the muscle and it rebuilds. When it rebuilds, it grows. It becomes stronger. That's the process. Your brain is like a muscle. Right? The question is, what is that one new thing you are learning every week? And I know as a group of chartered accountants, you're constantly looking at the law, you're looking at the rules, you're looking at the regulation. But I'm saying learn something beyond also. Right? So learn one new thing every week. Okay? Number 2, in the rule of 10, the power of 10. Number 1 is learn one new thing. 2, every day, appreciate or encourage 2 people. Every day, make it a point to appreciate or encourage 2 people. Right? When somebody does something well, we say, superb boss, well done. Excellent, good job. You see, when somebody does something well, yeah, appreciate the person. But that person actually does not really need the recognition. Now, hear me right. That person deserves it. But the person who really needs the appreciation and the encouragement is somebody who's trying very hard but not yet achieved the goal. And when you go there and say, come on, I believe you can do it, right? I'm sure you can do it. You know what? That person starts to believe and starts to think, gets inspired and goes out and achieves the task. You know, somebody said that, somebody did the math and was counting and said, you know, in Mumbai, on an average, we are meeting 7 people, unique people every day. If you're a doctor, you're meeting much more. I'm sure as a chartered accountant, your numbers could be more. But somebody like me who's not really a chartered accountant or a doctor, or even for somebody like me, I am meeting 7 unique people every day. Right? Can we make it a habit to encourage or appreciate people? Now, who do you encourage and appreciate? Well, it could be the milkman in your society. It could be the security guard in your society. Right? It could be somebody in your own firm with whom you're working with. It could be a client, right? And most importantly, am I forgetting somebody? Your family, your kids, your spouse. Spouse, yeah. Very difficult to encourage. Talking about wife, how many husbands in the room? Can you lift your hands? Don't lift like this, be bold. Yeah. Yeah. I want to give you a magic tip to be happy, okay? This is because Mr. Xavier brought this point up. As a husband, I've learned this rule. I've been married for 22 years. One golden tip I've learned as a husband. Some wise man told me, you can either be right with your wife or you can be happy. I've chosen to be happy, right? So, yeah, that's a tip. Yeah, but encourage 2 people. Now, when you encourage 2 people, they are feeling good, they are feeling inspired. But you know what? The giver of encouragement and appreciation also feels good and also feels happy. Have you ever appreciated somebody and felt terrible? No. You actually feel equally good. Okay? So, what is number 1? One new thing every week. 2, encourage and appreciate 2 people every day. Number 3, you know, I'm a big fan, I'm not a big fan when it comes to multitasking. How many of you love multitasking? Right? Some of us have to multitask. But given a choice, would you multitask is the question, right? I'm not. You lost 2 liters milk. And you were trying to do something else. Okay. Multitasking is not, I'm not saying it's bad, it's not good. But you know what? The problem with multitasking, like the milk example, right? We tend to miss out on few things, right? Or we tend to not be at our best when it comes to quality delivery when you multitask. Okay, and that's been the consensus from many people who've actually multitasked. You can't avoid multitasking, can you? You can't. So, how can you manage a multitasking situation? Well, number 3 stands for that, right? Break your day into 3 parts. Break your day into 3 equal parts, okay? And do not more than 3 big tasks in a day. You may have small tasks, send one email here, send one email there, do all that, right? I'm talking about 3 mega tasks. Break your day into 3 big tasks, and in each of that slot, give yourself 100% of your time, your attention, your focus on that particular task that you are actually working on, right? You see, when you do that, your focus is there, your attention is there. As a result, you are able to turn out high quality work. But if you're trying to do this and that and this and that all at the same time, like a man who's trying to juggle balls, right? Guess what? It's going to fall. There will be need for you to do rework when you're trying to do everything at the same time. Okay? So 3 is break your day into 3 parts and focus 100% on that particular slot. Okay? So we went 1, we went 2, we went 3. Okay? Are you ready for number 4? Are you really ready for number 4? Thank you. Right? Number 4 is about across the week, right? Spend 4 hours for yourself. 4 hours of me time. You heard of me time before? 4 hours of me time. I want to ask you, why do you think 4 hours, why is me time important? Forget 4 hours. Why is me time important? Why time for yourself is important? Anybody? Introspect, rest, rejuvenate, to self-rejuvenation, right? Introspect, what else? Sorry? To know yourself. Okay, know yourself. Okay, now I want you all to do one small activity. Can you do that? Right? Can you all close your eyes, please? All close your eyes. Everybody close your eyes. Okay, can you open your eyes? Tell me when you close your eyes, what were the noises you heard? AC noise. Any other noise? You see, these noises were always going around us. And we are living in a world which is very noisy. But the noise inside of us is greater than the noise outside of us. Right? And therefore, it's very important for us to actually spend time with yourself. The best ideas, the best solutions will come from within you. I want to say that again. This is very important. The best ideas and the best solutions will come from within you. You cannot be in a situation that you are so busy that you don't have time for yourself. You know, people are so. Tell me, what's the difference between being busy and productive? Are they same? Busy and productive. What's different? Sorry, productive is? Yeah, what's different? What's the difference between busy and productive? Very nice. You can be busy, but you need not necessarily be productive. Anybody else wants to try? Busy, productive? Yeah? Busy measures how much you've done, right? Productive measures how you've done it, right? Busy is supposedly about activity. Productive is about value. Get the difference? Productive is about, so you can be busy but not creating value. That's possible. But when you are productive, you're always creating value, right? So sometimes we're so busy that we don't have time for ourselves. And some of the secrets, the treasures of your mind are all within you, right? Now, how do you do your me time? How do you spend time with yourself? Anybody wants to say, what do you do? How? Get some sleep. Okay, rest. Okay, what else? Me time. Read books. Read books. Very nice. Movies. Okay, music. Anybody else? Me time. Meditation. Let me change the question. Where do you get your best ideas from? What are you doing when you get your best ideas from? Sleep? Actually, that's right. You know, I can tell you another story. I got a presentation flow through a dream. I'll talk to you about that, right? What else? Some of the best ideas I get from is when I'm on the treadmill, right? When I'm running on the treadmill. For me, I don't know, that seems to be I get my best ideas. Earlier, when I used to work for the Tatas and the Birlas, both were on Senapati Bapat Marg Road. And you know, it was a big commute from Chembur, Elphinstone Bridge, you wait there. I would think I would have spent half my working career for corporates at Elphinstone Signal, right? Such a long wait. But somehow in that drive, when I was alone, I would get my best ideas, right? You need to understand what is your me time, okay? And you need to be disciplined enough to calendarize it. Put it on your calendar and saying, I'm going to spend time with myself. It could be a walk, right? It could be a book. While reading a book, you're getting ideas. Fabulous, right? It could be meditation. It could be prayer. What is your me time? And dedicate 4 hours minimum across the week. Are you with me? Right? So one is what? One new thing every week. Learn one. 2 is appreciate and encourage 2 people. 3 is break your day into 3 parts. 4 is me time, right? What do you think 5 is? 5. Anybody wants to guess? 5? 5 hours of exercise for your body every week. 5 hours. And these are minimum. You spend an hour every week. 5 days in a week. And you do it every week for your body. You know? And I'll keep talking to you about the valuables in life, right? You are all people who are dealing with money. And I'm going to make a controversial statement here. The valuables in life are what money cannot buy. You agree? Right? It is family over fortune. It's family over fortune. It's God over goods. Right? It's memories over money. Right? Money is very important. Don't get me wrong. But memories over money. And the last one, it's health over wealth. You see, when we have the health, we are busy trying to exchange it for wealth. And when you've got the wealth, now you are trying to exchange it for health. But it's too late. So my question is, why did you lose your health in the first place? Right? Now, does it mean I need to sit at home and just, no. It means you have to work hard. But you got to work your body as well. Give it physical exercise and good eating habits as requires. You know, in the year in the year 2015, I went along with my wife. My wife said, I want you to come with me. And, you know, she said, I'm going to go and meet this doctor. Just come along with me. So as any good husband would be, I said, sure, I'll come. And I went there. But I did not know my wife had set me up. Okay? So I went to this doctor and got talking, and suddenly I realized, oh my God, this doctor visit is for me. So she looked at me, and the doctor looked at me and said, what's your age? Okay, so 2015, I said, I'm 40. She had taken my height, weight, and few other things, and some tests she had done and all that. I had no complaints. I was only asthmatic, but besides that, no complaints. So she said, what's your age? I said, I'm 40. She said, no, you're not 40, you're 56. I said, I don't think you heard me right. Doctor, I'm 40 years. She looked at me very straight, no expression. She said, no, you're not 40, you're 56. By this time, I was getting really angry. I looked at her and said, I'm not 56, I'm 40. And surprisingly, she used the same tone back at me. And she said, no, you're not 40, you're 56. And then she went on to explain the difference between a chronological age, which is the age coming from date of birth, and a concept called as your body age. And it really hit me, you know. And that was a turning point in my life. You see, at that point, I was 100 kilos, little less than 100 kilos. I was little less than 100 kilos. I made it a point saying that I got to do something about my health. So in less than 2 months, I lost 20 kilos, right? Now, anybody wants to know about how to lose weight, you can come and meet me after this. I charge $200 per hour. No, I'm just joking, right? But this is not about weight loss. I mean, anybody can lose weight if you want to. That's a different story. But, you know, I realized how I was not healthy at all, right? And therefore, I went and I met a dietitian. By the way, there are hundreds of free diets on the internet. Please don't subscribe to them because your body is unique and you need a unique diet for you, right? So everything on the internet is perhaps not going to suit you. So I went, I paid money, I signed up, and I met a dietitian. I also got to the gym. You see, at that point in time, I was asthmatic. I would use an Astalin inhaler. Anybody using Astalin inhaler? You know what I'm talking about? Astalin inhaler. I was using Astalin inhaler for 25 years, and I would use it 25 times a day. The Astalin inhaler would not last more than 10, 12 days. Over. And when the climate changes from summer to winter, it would become even worse, right? Long story short, I lost the 20 kilos. And along with the 20 kilos, I also lost my asthma. It's been 5 years, by God's grace. I don't have asthma. I don't carry an Astalin inhaler. I'm perfectly fine by God's grace. My blood, everything got better by God's grace. So I want to encourage you. I want to tell you, make time. Make time to take care of your health. It is very, very critical. You see, somebody spoke about time management, okay? And they put these two boxes. Urgent, not urgent. You see, you know what I'm talking about? Urgent, not urgent, important, not important, right? And the right box on top is actually a box, the left box on top is urgent and important. Okay, and normally we do all our firefighting and our deadlines in that box, right? We have to fight that fire. All the activities in urgent and important, we have to firefight. Then the box next to it is important but not urgent. What do you think goes into that box? Important, not urgent. All the important things in life, which we believe there's always time. I know I will take care of my health, बाद में देख लेंगे. Time कहाँ है? Right? Please take care of your health, because if it may be, you realize it's important but not urgent, but you don't take care of things in this box which is important and not urgent, it will move to the left, which is urgent and important. Right? So 5 hours you need to be spending in a week of taking care of your health. Now we're moving into the new year, about 10 days for the new year. You know what's the number one goal globally, New Year resolution globally? To reduce weight, right? And that's why if you want to be a gym owner, now's the time to open the gym. Because all come and pay an annual subscription around about this time. You know what's the average time people stick to that New Year resolution? I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to get healthy and all that. What's the average time? Less than 30 days. Anybody else? Any guesses? 2 months, 60 days. We got 30, we got 60. Third bidder. Anybody? 2 days. That seems like personal example there. It's 12 and a half days. That's the average time globally this resolution of taking care of health stays. Don't be like that, right? When I go to the gym, when I'm healthy, I'm tired after the workout, but you know what? I'm most productive and I have more energy coming. I can't explain it, but that's how I feel, right? Now I can run 5 kilometers every day. I can speak for 3-4 days continuously, because you know why? I've chosen to take care of my health. And I want to leave you with that, okay? So we covered 5. Let's go to 6. 6 is a minimum of 6 hours of sleep every day. A minimum of 6 hours of sleep every day. Okay? It's become fashionable now, right? To send out an email at 2 o'clock in the morning. Right? It means that when the other person wakes up, oh, not bad, yaar, 2 baje he's sending email. How hard he's working. Who knows? He must have sent one auto timer, 2 o'clock the email is going. That's a different story, right? But on a serious note, right? People, I mean, if you look at the young kids coming out of college and, joining the workforce, especially the business school world, right? I mean, in the business school itself, they don't sleep. They're doing projects and they're doing this and that all night. And that habit seems to just tick on. You see, and if you continue to work like that without giving your body a minimum of 6 hours of sleep, that minimum is a very important word. Very soon you're going to fall sick. You see, when we are sleeping, the body is repairing itself. When we are sleeping, the memory cells are functioning. When we are sleeping, there's a whole lot of activity, physiological activity that's actually happening. Psychological and also physiological. I don't know about you, but most people, when they don't sleep or when they have sleep deprivation, they're very irritable. Yes or no? Extremely irritable. And as a result, relationships are affected. Productivity is affected. Focus is not there. Concentration is not there. You need to be giving yourself 6 hours of sleep. When I was at the Tatas, I used to report into the chairman and managing director of that particular company I was working for. Now, this person who was the CEO and managing director was a good friend of mine. He used to be the director at McKinsey Consulting. IIT gold medalist, IIM gold medalist and all that stuff. That was his background. So and he used to be a guy who used to show up to work at 6:45 in the morning, go home at about some, 12:30. That was in the night. That was his early morning, 12:30 early morning. He would probably go for 3-4 hours, have a bath, shower, I don't know what, sleep for an hour and a half perhaps, and then come to work. So when I was doing my exit interview, when I chose to quit, he asked me, so Rajiv, do you have any advice for me? I gave him a couple of advice, but I want to focus on one advice. The advice that I gave him was, Naveen, he was, by the way, my age, he was 42 when I quit. You're not getting younger. You and me are getting older. And you have a lot to contribute. But you need to take care of yourself. You need to sleep well and you need to rejuvenate. You need to take care of yourself. You're not getting younger. So he heard me. Probably nobody gave him this kind of advice before. He heard me. When I quit, the next year he got promoted to become a CEO for Asia. And he was transferred to Singapore. He was transferred to Singapore. I heard after 3-4 months, he quit the job. Why? Because he developed a very serious neuro condition. This is very, very recent. This is happening before my eyes. Where was the start point? Thinking that the body is a machine, right? Even machines need downtime, right? You need some downtime. I need some downtime. So we've done up to 6. I'm going to 7. What do you think 7 is? Eat healthy food 7 times a day. No, that's my addition. Oh, yeah, I was pulling your leg. What is 7? 7, anybody? Guess. 7. 7 is spend minimum 7 hours with your family in a week. Minimum 7 hours with your family. Now, when I say spend, I'm not saying, hey, but Rajiv, I am living with my family. I'm not talking about living with family. I'm talking about 7 hours of time, quality time with your family across the week. Okay? Which works out to a minimum 1 hour a day. Okay? When I'm saying spending time with your family, it doesn't mean, they're eating, I'm also eating, I'm watching TV, I'm working on my lap. No. Today we are all living in a cell. We are all living in our cell phones. You agree or not? Our cell, another word is prison. We're all prisoners of the cell phone. Okay, I'm spending time with my family. I'm looking at my mobile. My wife's looking at her mobile. The kids are looking at the mobile. We're sitting across the table. We're sending WhatsApp and saying, Mom, can you pass the gravy? Right? No, that's not spending time. You need, at the end of the day, why are you working? For who are you doing it? Remember the values. I spoke about the valuables of life money can't buy. It's family over fortune. Spend 1 hour. Play a game. Right? Watch a movie. Go for a walk together. Right? Don't become that weekend dad and that vacation dad or mom. You can't. You see, there are some things in life that we cannot outsource. You cannot outsource your role as a father and a mother. If you outsource it, you will have major problems. You can't outsource that. You cannot outsource the role of being a father or mother. Yeah, you can work hard and you can build a big house. But what's the point of there's a big difference between a house and a home. Right? You need to build, a home is built on quality time being spent. Okay? So 7 is 7 hours of quality time. They're going to 8 now. They're going to 8. 8 is a Japanese proverb. It's a Japanese proverb. It's called Yana Kana Karobi. Yana Kana Karobi. Okay? Literally it means 7 times fall down, 8 times get up. 7 times fall down, 8 times get up. I want to tell you, in life, you will fall. Okay? You will have victories. You will also fail. Right? You will attempt goals. Some you will achieve, some you may not. Okay? Life is about mountains and valleys. Right? You'll have a daytime, you'll also have a night. So what do you do when you fall? You need to pick yourself up. You know, life is like, somebody said, like an ECG graph. You seen an ECG graph? Goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down, goes up. For those who've got breath in their nostrils and the heart is beating, it goes up and goes down. For those who don't have breath in their nostrils and the heart does not beat, how's the line? It's like this. Right? So life is designed to be like this. And we are designed with every rise and every fall to get stronger so that we will pick yourself up. 2020, you should not be giving up. Maybe in 2019, you've given up on certain goals and certain ambitions. I'm here to inspire you and say, don't give up. Don't give up. Right? Can you talk to yourself and say, don't give up? One person says that. Can we do it together? Don't give up. Don't feel shy. Have that conversation with yourself and say, I may have fallen, but I'm going to rise. I may have fallen, I'm going to rise. Right? So that's number 8. I'm going to number 9. Number 9 is about having the circle of 9. The circle of 9. What is the circle of 9? Circle of 9 is you have 3 people above you with whom you can learn from. 3 people above you, mentors, coaches, seniors. Okay, and you don't go and you actually schedule time in your calendar. Maybe it's once a quarter. Maybe it's twice a month. I don't know. You know the frequency. Right? But you have 3 people. I've got 3 mentors in my life. I've always had mentors in my life. People who I can learn from. You know, because none of us can actually say, I know everything. Anybody in the room who says, I know everything, you need to learn more. You know, the day we stop to learn is the day we stop to earn. Remember that. Right? 3 people above you whom you can actually learn. The next 3 are 3 people beside you, your peers. And I love forums like this. This is a great forum because you can actually network. You can actually build new friendships. Okay, and even beyond the forum, that you can actually connect with people within you, in this circle and actually say, hey, you know what, this is what's happening. Did you go through a case like this? How can you solve it? But just learn from your subject, learn how are they managing their office, how are they setting up, how are they getting clients, learn. 3 people around you. Don't be saying, I'm not going to tell something which I learned because if I tell, I will lose my secret. Boss, everything is on the internet. Nothing is secret today. Right? So yeah, sure.
I agree with you. Am I audible? That everything is on internet, everything is online. That's all fine. It's there. But the reality of life is that if somebody knows something or some experience, real experience, it cannot be taken over by somebody else.
Cannot be taken over by somebody.
Yeah. In that same way.
Okay.
That's what I want to say.
Yeah. But I think it's important to share.
I'm sharing.
Yeah. It's important to share the learning. Now, and it's important because we learn from people above, we learn from people beside, share your experiences. Now, whether the person wants to learn, take it, it's okay. But I'm saying be open to learning. The more closed you are to learning, it's like pulling a handbrake of a car and trying to drive fast. Right? and then 3 above, 3 beside, and then we're talking about 3 people below. Who are these 3 people below? 3 people you will teach. 3 people you will put it on your calendar saying, you know what, I'm going to add value to the lives of these 3 people. I'm going to be teaching. Now, and for you, in your trade, it comes very naturally because you have juniors and you got people there. So you can actually, you're supposed to do that. What I'm saying, go beyond that. So that's the circle of 9. 3 above, 3 beside, and 3 below. Right? I'm going to 10. I'm going to 10. And I think this is my favorite one. This is my favorite one. Right? I was listening to a TED talk, and sorry, but I can't remember the name of the person. The title of the TED talk is How I Read One Book Every Day. And I said, wow, 1 book every day, man, that's something. How is it possible? So I watched his TED talk. And then he made a very interesting point, this gentleman. He said, what if you had Warren Buffett, right, to be your financial advisor or your financial coach, right? What if you had Arnold Schwarzenegger to be your physical fitness coach, right? What if you had Bill Gates, for instance, to be your IT and technology coach, because you live in a technology generation, right? And what if you had, let's say, somebody like Mother Teresa or Swami Vivekananda, right, to be your value or spiritual coach? What would it do to you? Let me ask that question. Quite simply, you'll be the very best, isn't it? You agree? Don't be so sad. I'm going to finish in 5 minutes, so you can be excited now. Okay. Right? What will it do to you? You'll be like, wow, I'm the best. And he goes on to say, you can still get into their minds. You can get into a mind of a Warren Buffett. You can get into a mind of an Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can get into a mind of a Bill Gates. You can get into a mind of whoever you want by reading the books they wrote or reading the books written about them. You know, our mind is like a sponge. Our mind is like a sponge. You've seen a sponge? What does a sponge do when you put it on liquid? It absorbs the water. You see, by default, our mind is absorbing. But you know, the wise person is somebody who allows his or her mind to absorb by design. You know what I'm saying? You know, absorb by mind design. I want to ask you a question. Last question for the day, from my side at least. Right? Show of hands. Now, when I'm going to ask you, how many of you eat 3 meals a day? Can you show your hands, please? Right. Awesome. Very good. Some of you are very angry and not participating. Please participate, right? How many of you eat 2 meals a day? Only 2. Wow. That's good. How many of you eat only 1 meal a day? Okay, now somebody like me, okay? Oh, there, we got somebody right at the back. How many of you eat more than 3 meals a day? Nice. The snack you had outside, that's also a meal, by the way. Right. Right. Now my question is, if we take so much care to feed our stomach a healthy diet, how much care are we taking to feed our mind a healthy diet? Get what I'm saying? You got to feed your mind by design. Okay? You got to feed your mind by design. Now, I'm going to ask another question. Normally when I ask this question, how many of you read books and why you, almost all, how many of you want to read books if I ask this question? Almost all are saying, yes, we want to read. When I ask you how many of you are actually reading books, out of that, the number of hands drop down. And then I ask this question, why you don't read? Let me try that question. Why you don't read? Time kahan hai? That is the number one. Thank you for being honest. That's the number one excuse. And you know what? Frankly, even I had that problem. Intent to read was there, but desire to read was there, but discipline to read was not there. You see, when desire and discipline go together, great things happen. Right? So therefore, I came out with this strategy, which is called the 10-page strategy. Okay, 10-page strategy. I make it a point to read minimum of 10 pages every day. 10 pages, even if you're a slow reader, it will probably take only 20 minutes, max. Even if you're a slow reader. But if you do 10 pages a day, you guys are all great on maths, it is 3,650 pages a year. That's an average, give or take, of 10 to 12 books. Okay? And I'm talking about really books which add value. I'm not talking about half girlfriend types and all that. Right? I'm talking about books which will add value. Okay? To your domain, to your area of expertise. Now, I'll separate conversations over you. Yeah. Right? So these are books that will add value, right? Read books which will add value, right? You know what it does? It just creates so much of wisdom in you. You become a thought leader. Okay, you can contribute to discussions. You can see problems and solutions from a very different angle. Why? Because you've taken care to feed your mind, right? 10 pages. And some people can say, boss, but 10 pages. I said, you can't read 10 pages. Mumbai traffic, how much your traveling time, train time, tell me. Put your headphones on. Somebody else will read the book for you. Is that okay? That's called audio book. Today we have audio book also. So really, frankly, there is no excuse for us, right? 10 pages every day. Okay, let's just close this. Number one is one new thing, learn one new thing every week. Number two is encourage and appreciate minimum 2 people daily. Number three is break your day into 3 parts and give yourself 100% of attention there. Number 4, 4 hours of me time. Number 5 hours of exercise across the week. Number 6, minimum 6 hours of sleep. Number 7 hours family time. Number 8 is every time you fall, rise up. Don't quit, persevere. Number 9, the circle of 9, right? 3 above, 3 beside, 3 below. And number 10 pages every day. So I want to wish you the very best. Put this to practice. Some of you are already doing some of this. Those who are doing some of this, can you raise your hands, please? Yeah, awesome. Very good. Try and do the things that you're not doing. Don't just pursue success, pursue purpose, right? Because when you're purposeful, you will be successful. And purpose comes with personal effectiveness. Thank you so much. I had a good time. God bless you.